القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر.
Salam Alykum. Be sure to download your free implementation workbook. We go through it step by step. All the videos correspond with it. We have laid it out very strategically so you can master Quranic Tajweed and Quranic Mastery and implement it while you go along. Okay, so be sure to download this and it will help you on your journey. It's free to download. The link should be in the description. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Welcome to lesson number 4. Lesson number 4 is going to talk about a particular lesson in Tajweed, which is more to do with writing. However, it does affect the recitation as well. So, of course, let's go to the next slide. Inshallah, it will be explained further. So, al-Maqtoo' wal-Mawsool, the separated and the joint. Let's just have a look at the Arabic again. Al-Maqtoo' wal-Mawsool. Al-Maqtoo' wal-Mawsool, the separated and the joint, is a topic which stems from the writing of the Quran and therefore affects how the words are stopped on. Okay, so it affects how the words are stopped. The Prophet ﷺ would read the Quran to the Sahaba, and they would write it exactly how he read it. So the Prophet ﷺ, when the revelation came down of the Quran, then of course he would recite it, learn it from Jibreel alayhi salam, and then he would go and recite it to the scribes being the people, the Sahaba, who would write the Quran down, and they would write it exactly in the way that he read it. So after the Prophet ﷺ passed away, the revelation stopped and the Quran was complete. It was then compiled into a single book at 2 separate times. What does that mean? That means that when the Quran was revealed, of course it was revealed over a period of 23 years, and it was revealed one ayah at this time, a few ayahs at that time, and a few ayahs at that time, and so on and so on. So the Sahaba, there was no one book that the Quran was written in. So what happened is that they wrote it down in different places, and some Sahaba kept it with them, and they maybe kept it in one area. Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best. Now, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, and of course there was no more wahi, the revelation stopped. Now it's time, the Quran is complete, so now it can be compiled into one book. So one book, it was compiled, the first time it was compiled into one book was at the time of Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. And the second time it was compiled, it was at the time of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. Now, there's a big story as to how the compilation happened, when it happened, the situation that arose from the compilation, but that's a topic within itself. Now, let's just know here that Zayd ibn Thabit was the head scribe. He was a head scribe, he was young, he was one of the scribes of Medina. When the Prophet ﷺ was in Medina, and he was very, very clever. So he was chosen at both times because he was the scribe of the Prophet ﷺ, and then Abu Bakr chose him at his time, and he was young, so he was still alive, of course, at the time of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. And Uthman radiyallahu anhu obviously recognized the fact that he had the expertise of writing the Quran at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and at the time of Abu Bakr, so he was the most qualified, and of course he was chosen again at the time of Uthman. So at the time of Uthman, 5 copies were sent to the major provinces of the Muslim world, and he kept one as for himself. He kept one known as Mushaf al-Imam or Mushaf al-Uthman. So this is the Mushaf that is like the master copy. It's the master copy. So the Quranic copies that we have today must conform to the writing of the Mushaf of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. And that means that it must match the same writing that was done by Uthman at the time of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. So this is where a little bit of history about the writing of the Quran. And the Maqtoo' and the Mawsool were written like that by the Sahaba as they heard from the Prophet ﷺ. And what we have today is what was compiled at the time of Uthman radiyallahu anhu. And this is one of the conditions, actually. One of the conditions of the Quran is that it must conform to the writing of Uthman. So the Mus'haf of Uthman. So Maqtoo and Mawsool stems from there. That means some of the words were written separately where they may be joined in other places, and some of the words were written joined where they may be separate in other places as well. And this is what this science is. So inshallah, we will look at in the next video the al-Maqtoo, and we will go through all of the Maqtoo, the separated words, inshallah.
If you enjoyed this video, guys, please like this video so we know you enjoy it, as we can make more. Please write a comment and tell us what you thought about the lesson. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe now. Jazakallah. Salam Alykum.